Welcome back to another episode of the weekly roundup with Crop News Time. Here we sit down with industry experts and discuss everything that's happening in India and across the globe. With us today is Mr. Balaji Rao, a real estate veteran with over 35 years of work experience. Let's start with residential real estate. Affordable home sales have dipped in the first quarter across 8 major markets in India. Houses priced below 50 lakhs have witnessed a 9% drop in sales year on year, and houses between 50 lakhs and 1 crore have witnessed a 6% drop in sales. In contrast, the mid-segment and luxury market has done well in the same quarter across the same regions. Now, with the new financial year, a lot of states have revised their ready reckoner rates and guidance values. Many people believe that this is going to negatively impact affordable housing sales. What's your thoughts on it?
There's a whole lot of questions what you put in. The concept of sales going up and down, I don't think you can just do it by one quarter sales because you need to see what the trend is.
Okay.
So if it is trending downward and you see it over 2 or 3 quarters, then I would say yes, brakes have been put on the volume sales at least. Similarly, if it is trending, the prices are trending up over 2 quarters or 3 quarters, then I would say that yes, there is a price increase and inflationary trend we can see in real estate. As far as the ready reckoner rates are concerned, the second part of your question which you asked me, the ready reckoner rates try to keep pace with the prices being declared in transactions when they come to register it at the sub-registrar's office.
I understand.
Correct?
Yeah.
So it's more, there's always a lag effect.
Yeah.
So prices in market have actually risen.
Yes.
They observe it for a year almost, at least,
Yeah.
if not a couple of years, like in this case.
Right.
It has happened after a couple of years.
Yes.
And then you're putting a price increase in the ready reckoner's days to justify that the market prices have gone up, and why shouldn't I take my stamp duty and other duties and cesses based on the current rate rather than on a historical price. So ready reckoner rates follow the market.
Right.
The market doesn't follow the ready reckoner rate generally.
Right.
There might be a few anomalies and micro markets, but that's not the case usually.
I think maybe people are talking about it more from an affordability perspective, that for somebody looking to buy a 50 lakh house, now he's having to pay more in stamp duty charges.
No, because most probably your market price will be higher than the ready reckoner rate. So you'll be paying a stamp duty on the market price rather than the ready reckoner rate.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing it in full check, as we assume he's doing it.
Yes.
So to him, it won't impact at all.
All right.
Why are we assuming that your prices are actually lower than the ready reckoner rate and that's where he's going to get trapped? I don't think so.
So that's a fallacy. Thank you.
It's a fallacy. It is just, you want to cry wolf over everything. So you say, okay, this increase has happened, that increase has happened. But that's not the way the game is played.
All right. Okay. So next I'd like to talk about commercial real estate. So office leasing has had a great first quarter. A total of over 18 million has been absorbed by the Indian market. Now, when we looked at a couple of statistics, over 80% of the recorded leases seem to be in green certified buildings. The 3 top performing markets for this quarter, Mumbai, Chennai and Bangalore, also have the highest concentration of green certified buildings and projects. So there's obviously a rising demand and focus on sustainability in green projects. How do you see builders adapting to it?
I think the builders have already adapted to it. That's why you're saying 80% of it. Because the tenant, who is usually multinational or a very environmental conscious tenant, wants to be in a green certified building. Okay. So there are a lot of benefits which are associated with it. And so the institutional market, which is basically your commercial market, are the first people who are veered towards it.
Right.
So most commercial buildings being made today, if they want to be grade A, they definitely have to be certified as green.
Understood.
Whether you come up to the gold or the platinum, that's a separate issue, but you have to be certified as green.
Right.
because otherwise you might not be attractive to the prospective tenant.
Okay.
So I think builders have adapted to it very easily.
Mm.
We are very much in the forefront of
Mhm.
doing green buildings, and I think that it's an extremely positive trend. And sooner or later, we will see this trend even in the residential segment.
Right.
Maybe it will start from the luxury and premium
Mhm.
housing, and then it will slowly descend towards the more affordable housing.
Okay.
But this will be the future hygiene factor for any real estate project that they're green certified.
What about projects that are old that want to maybe adapt or upgrade to being green certified? Is that a good, I mean, is that
It's an
plausible?
excellent idea, especially in commercial.
Mhm.
So they are known as brownfield developments,
Okay.
where you go to an older building and you try to retrofit and you bring in such measures that make it more environmentally friendly, and that then makes them qualify to some extent to increase their rents as well as compete with the newer grade A buildings.
Okay.
So yes, it is a trend which we see abroad very strongly.
Mhm.
In India, it is just catching on. There have been a few instances, but it's catching on overall.
The next, I want to talk about hospitality and tourism. Several major global and Indian brands have recently announced expansion in India. So you have Hyatt, Best Western, you have Thailand's minor hotels, and even Indian brands like Ananta and IHCL that have said that they're going to expand their operations in India. Most of them are focusing on tier 2 and tier 3 cities like Kasol and Ajmer and Nagpur. So, how do you see India's tourism in the coming future, the tourism industry? Do you see us being able to compete with global leaders like Sri Lanka, Thailand, Indonesia?
Uh, it's difficult to say whether we'll compete and overtake them
Mhm.
because we have our own pace of doing things.
Mhm.
But what is more important, we are forgetting is we also will have domestic tourism.
Mhm.
And I have a feeling with this new sort of messaging which is going out where we feel proud of our heritage, of our culture,
Right.
there will be many more young people who will want to discover that culture and tradition within India.
Right.
So it's not so much as competing with a Bangkok or a Colombo
Okay.
to say, do you have a better music festival?
Right.
Okay. So I think what is coming up in tier two, tier three, as well as places of interest are those that have religious orientation, or those that have certain natural beauty, or those that have historical importance from a heritage point of view. So all these are going to be very much on the upswing as
Okay.
the Indian traveler might decide that he wants to take a couple of holidays within India
Mhm.
rather than take it outside India.
Right.
And hospitality, we are in the infancy. If I'm not mistaken, the number of rooms all over India might be still lesser than the number of rooms in Bangkok, I would say. So there's a huge upside you can have because as you'll have more disposable income, people will like to travel. Sure, there will be a tendency to travel abroad for various reasons,
Mhm.
but there'll also be a growing trend to travel inward also and be within the country. And you might have also a lot of foreign investors. We haven't seen that yet post COVID bouncing back, but they might also come into India to see that heritage.
Okay.
So it needs a lot of effort from both public and private bodies to see that we are on the tourism map for sure.
Right. So a lot of states like Kerala and Uttarakhand have done a lot. They've set up a lot of guest houses, smaller, like you said, 2-star, 3-star hotels. Do you feel states need to be doing a lot more than they currently are
You
to
see,
boost?
more than the guest houses, you first need to figure out what is it on the map. What are the places of interest and ensure they're really up to world standard
Okay.
by way of safety or cleanliness or hygiene. The second thing you have to see is what is the connectivity to that place, how easy it is.
Right.
See, like even today, it's not very easy to go to Agra directly. You have to go via Delhi.
No. Yes. Yeah.
So if you want to promote it, you might have to give more connectivity, have the airport there. So all these sort of points will start really rising.
Mhm.
So it's a connectivity, it is the infrastructure, and then finally being able to maintain the places of interest in that town.
Right.
Whereas private sector can easily take over this hospitality per se,
Okay.
what you say,
Yes.
whether it is 2-star, 3-star, that the private sector can easily take the initiative and do it. But it is the coming together of these two that it will make a big difference.
Just to circle back, many people believe the current trade policy released by the Trump administration is likely to lead the country towards a recession. Like I asked you earlier, how do you see this impacting the real estate market in India?
Oh, well, the slew of measures that the Trump administration has taken, as you can see, there's been a bloodbath in the stock markets all over the world. Who are the earliest indicators that this is really not good for stability?
Mm-hmm.
It's not business as usual.
Right.
So these will have impact on the general economy of any country.
Okay.
Because it's going to start a trade war, or it's going to maybe stoke inflation, as we say.
Right.
So overall, we believe growth will be impacted,
Mm-hmm.
and in certain countries there might be recession too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so whenever such a slowdown happens,
Mm-hmm.
then naturally all segments of the economy will be impacted, and real estate being one of the largest segments of any economy will be impacted.
Okay.
So I'm not in any doubt whether it will be impacted or not. It will be impacted. But will we be resilient to come out of it? I'm also very confident we'll be resilient.
Okay.
Because real estate per se, after all the euphoria and the madness dies down,
Mm-hmm.
then it is a domestic oriented industry.
Right.
You understand? Though we might import a few inputs,
Yes.
it is more a domestic oriented industry. And if domestically we can sail through
Mm-hmm.
with still growth and not recession, which
Right.
I believe we will, it might be a lesser growth rate than before, but we will still have growth. Then I feel the industry will be resilient enough to keep afloat. It won't sink.
Right. So what you're saying, it's got more to do with the sentiment. Like there'll be a negative
Always.
fear.
Initially, there'll
like-
always be the sentiment effect.
Right.
Then comes the actual impact, what happens.
Right.
If tomorrow, God forbid, you have an earthquake in a place,
Mm-hmm.
first is the fear. Everybody will abandon the city.
Right.
Then comes the actual thing to say, where was the epicenter? Is there
Yes.
going to be any aftershocks? Is it a one-off?
Mhm.
And then people will assess and figure out what exactly will be the impact of it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Thank you.